Hi everyone, I hope that you're doing well and that you're staying healthy amidst COVID-19. And this is really uncharted territory that we've never really been in. And so thank you so much for bearing with us through this time as we kind of all navigate it together. I'm Laura. I'm the occupational therapist with the Caring for My COPD. For those of you who haven't met me in person, I hope to meet you soon. So I am here from my house today and wanted to do a couple of videos for you with some of the reflections that I've had over the last couple of weeks from my role as an OT. So as I mentioned, I'm an occupational therapist, so my job is really around all of those activities that you need to do from the time you get up in the morning till the time you go to bed, and really focusing on how to make those things a little bit easier. Now, I completely recognize that our daily activities have been really impacted over the last couple of weeks and needing to stay at home and not being able to get out. And so I hope that I can share some of my reflections with you to keep you active and keep you moving and keeping you doing those things that you want or need to do as much as possible in your home setting over this next little while. So I wanted to start by sharing a little bit of the reflection that I've done from being at home myself. So as a team, we're all kind of working from home to minimize the risk of exposure to COVID-19. And so I really haven't left my house very much either. And over the last couple of days, I've really reflected on how easy it can become to do a lot of passive activities. So those are things like maybe reading or watching TV or doing a crossword or talking on the phone or FaceTiming maybe. And all of those are good activities, but what they all kind of have in common is that we don't often necessarily tend to move all that much when we're doing them. And so it can be really easy for a lot of time to pass without maybe us getting up or moving. And so I just really wanted to encourage you and give you some strategies to maybe build a little bit more movement into your day. Because with COPD, we know how important movement is for lots of different things. For managing your shortness of breath, for keeping your muscles strong and working efficiently, for your balance. All of those things are so important in terms of how easy or hard it might be to do your daily activities. And so I really would encourage you to think about ways, and I'm happy to talk with anybody by phone about this, for us to build a little bit more movement into our days, to keep you going and to keep your lungs working as efficiently as possible, and to really maintain that activity tolerance. Okay, so a few helpful tricks that I have found in terms of building activity in is to keep it as simple as possible. So it doesn't have to be all that complicated, but the key is we want you to move more. There are Canadian guidelines for physical activity, and they talk about that they encourage adults to get about 150 minutes of physical activity or exercise over the course of a week. Now, depending on where you're at, and right now, being kind of stuck at home, that might seem like a lot, and so I encourage you to break it down into really small chunks and maybe not focus on that 150, but to focus on just moving more throughout your day. And that can look like a lot of different things. So it could be as simple as, if you've been watching a TV show, each time a commercial comes on, maybe you get up and you walk around your apartment or your house. Or maybe it's, at the end of the show, you get up and do some sit-to-stands, which I'll show you what those are in a little bit. Maybe, it's, okay, at the end of this chapter that I'm reading, I'm going to go and maybe I will do a little bit of laundry, or I'm going to go and do a little bit of tidying. I'm going to get up and move. And so sometimes just building in those movement breaks can be one really helpful strategy amidst being at home for us to build more movement in. The other strategy that I recommend is setting a reminder, setting an appointment for yourself. So I know a lot of you are so used to having your schedules with coming into the center and exercising at your set times. And so maybe for right now, it means that you try and do a little bit of exercise or movement at home at those designated times as well. Making an appointment for you so that it's a little bit easier to stick to, okay? When you are exercising from home, again, we want to keep it as simple as possible. So don't worry about the equipment that you may or may not have at home. There are lots of household things that you can use. So if you have, areas to walk, that's perfect. If you have a step or two, that's perfect. Chairs that you can sit to stand on, wonderful. Maybe you don't have weights at home, that's okay. So I have with me soup cans are wonderful substitutes for weights. So these little guys, they're just under a pound. And then these bigger ones, the chunky chicken noodle soup, which I know are a hot commodity right now, they're just over a pound. But again, I encourage you not to really worry about the weight of them. It just gives you a little bit of something to do some strengthening exercises with. If you have dumbbells, this is a dumbbell. Absolutely, you can use these. I do, though, encourage you to be careful about and mindful of the amount of weight that you have. You don't want it to be too high. So at Grand River, when we're exercising, a lot of the dumbbells are 1, 2, 3, 5 pounds. I wouldn't go much above that right now. Okay. And then, of course, resistance bands. So some of you, let me grab them. It's kind of clunky. These ones look different, but you'll get the gist when I start doing some exercises with you. So use whatever you have. Again, it doesn't have to be fancy. You can use water bottles with some water in it to give you a little bit of strengthening. Whatever you have is wonderful. Okay. Just a few safety reminders. Because we're not with you, it's really important for you to go slow and go by how you're feeling with any exercise that you do. So many of you may or may not have the oximeter. So that's that little device that we put on your finger to measure your oxygen when you come in. If you have one, wonderful. Please monitor your oxygen. We want it to be above 88%. If you don't have one, that's okay. Don't worry. But again, even more important for you to go by how you're feeling. We don't want you to push through feeling short of breath or tired. If you're feeling short of breath or tired, we want you to ease off and take a rest. Okay? When you're at the center, we also ask you to rate your shortness of breath on that Borg scale. So that's the scale from 0 to 10. And we ask you to tell us where your shortness of breath is during exercise. And so that scale can be really helpful to think about, because if at rest you're not short of breath at all, so maybe you're a 0 or a 1, maybe very light, we would expect with moving that you may become more short of breath. We don't want you to get really we don't want you to be having severe shortness of breath when you're moving. So on this scale, 1 is a very light, 3 is a moderate, and 5 is heavy. So really, when you're moving, especially at home, we don't want you to get beyond like a 3. Go very carefully, okay? I want you to focus on your breathing throughout the entire time. So in through the nose and out through the mouth, using that pursed lip breathing, starting it before you even get started and carrying yourself all the way through. So looking like this. Okay, carrying that all the way through your exercise. The way that this is going to work is that I'm going to be creating some separate videos with different exercises that you can do at home. Again, the point of all of these is to keep you moving and hopefully help with your shortness of breath during your day-to-day activities. Okay, if you have any questions, please by all means give me a call. My number is 519-754-0777 and my extension is 258. Okay, so stay tuned. There are more videos with actual exercises coming, and I hope that they're helpful. But in the meantime, please stay safe and stay well and stay home. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.